I really probably should have looked up how to pronounce a lot of these words before we started this, but here we are. Hello and welcome to Bathrobe Philosophy, Episode 2. Today, we're talking about Aristotle, the Swiss Army knife of Western thought, which means I'm going to need like 5 coffees to get through this video. Let's get into it. Aristotle was born in 384 BC in Stagira, or Stagira. I don't know. The part of northern Greece that's shaped like the letter M. Future me here, it is pronounced Stagira. He studied at Plato's Academy in Athens for about 20 years, but notably broke from Plato's school of thought over some big ideas like the theory of the forms. After that, he goes on to tutor Alexander the Great, quite the resume builder, and then heads back to Athens to form his own school, the Lyceum. Eventually, in classic Greek democratic fashion, he gets charged with impiety, is exiled to the island of Webua, where he spends the rest of his life until he dies.
Hey, hey, I've seen this one. I've seen this one. This is a classic.
So, why Aristotle? Because this dude tried to explain everything: logic, biology, ethics, politics, art, metaphysics. If there was a thing that existed, Aristotle probably had a theory about it. I won't be able to get into everything. This can't be a 6 hour long episode, but hopefully we can just focus on the core of his philosophical system. We'll all learn something and have some fun. His big move here was the syllogism, a kind of logical structure made of two premises and a conclusion. You've probably seen it in action before, even if you didn't know what exactly it was. Something like, all men are mortal. Socrates is a man. Therefore, Socrates is mortal. And if you saw my last video, you know that yes, by now, Socrates is in fact dead as shit. That's a form of deductive reasoning. Basically, start with a big idea and then get specific. If your premises are solid, then the conclusion locks in automatically. Very satisfying. And that sort of thing was Aristotle's shit, trying to figure out how to build arguments that hold up against scrutiny. It might seem basic now, but at the time it was revolutionary. It's the first system for testing whether arguments made sense on their own terms. You could analyze them. No more just shouting at each other down at the agora. Future me here again. It's pronounced agora. He also introduced ideas like predication and the square of opposites, but we are not getting into that today because I do not have the mental capacity to do so. Know your limits. The important thing to take away here is that Aristotle turned thinking into a tool. He gave people a way to structure thought, not just what to think, but how to think and how to think well. And this sort of shaped Western thought for the next 2,000 years. On to metaphysics. Aristotle's metaphysics, which he called first philosophy, the word metaphysics didn't exist yet, it's basically just asking what is real and what makes things the way that they are. Like, actually, what is it? First up, you got ontology, which is a fancy word for a simple premise: the study of being. For Aristotle, everything that existed is a being, but not all beings are created equal. There are primary substances like you or your cat, and there are qualities or relations like being tall or shitting in a litter box. The real stuff is the primary substances, the things that exist on their own, not the adjectives that describe them. This leads us to substance and essence. For Aristotle, a substance is anything that can exist independently, and its essence is what makes the thing that thing, like the core blueprint of what it is and why. A chair isn't just a chair because it has 4 legs and you can sit on it. It has the form and function of chairness, the soul of a chair, sort of. This is where he really starts to move away from Plato and his ideas. Plato thought things existed in another realm in a perfect form, somewhere out there. Aristotle said, no, the form is in the thing. There is no separate plane or some abstract, unknowable realm full of perfect triangles. I'm worried about the triangles here and now. Then you've got the four causes, Aristotle's signature way of explaining why things are the way that they are. You have the material cause, what the thing is made of, the formal cause, its shape or pattern, the efficient cause, who or what made it, and the final cause, the purpose or end goal of its existence. For Aristotle, everything exists for a reason, and figuring out all four causes tells you that reason. He also introduces potentiality and actuality, the idea that something can potentially be something before it really is. Like a lump of bronze has the potential to become a statue. When it becomes one, the potentiality becomes actuality. It's like watching me almost make a great point, and then eventually I do. That's the shift from potential to actual. Moving on to ethics. This is where Aristotle sort of starts telling you how to live your damn life. Unlike some philosophers who deal in hypotheticals and trolley problems, Aristotle's ethics is more practical and grounded. Less, what if I had to kill one person to save five, and more, how should I actually behave at dinner with my friends? At the center of this is edom, fuck, edaimonia. I don't know. We're like 0 for 3 on these pronunciations. It's pronounced eudaimonia. At the center of this is eudaimonia, often translates as happiness, but it's more about flourishing, living well, being fully, vibrantly human. You don't get eudaimonia from feeling good, you have to earn it by living a life of virtue. Aristotle asks, what's the point of a human? To reason well and live in accordance with that reason. So, how do you live well? Enter virtue ethics. For Aristotle, virtue is a kind of excellence, a way of being good at being human. It's not something you have, it's something you do over and over until it becomes who you are. To Aristotle, virtue was a habit. You become just by doing just things over and over. You become brave by pretending to be brave even when you're scared. You can't binge philosophy your way into a good life. You have to practice and earn it. His most famous ethical idea is the doctrine of mean, the idea that virtue of anything lies between two extremes. Courage is the mean between cowardice and recklessness. Generosity lies somewhere between stinginess and wastefulness. It's like, don't overdo it, don't underdo it. Find the sweet spot, and you find virtue. Now, to actually do this in real life, you need forensis or practical wisdom. It's like moral muscle memory, knowing the right thing to do at the right time for the right reason. And the problem here lies in the fact that this isn't one size fits all, where a lot of his concepts are really foundationally structured like math. This is more like jazz. Aristotle believed that ethical living required good judgment, strong sense of nuance, and experience. It's not about just knowing what's good, but more so about becoming someone who wants to do the good thing and choose it instinctively. And another thing about this that I find really important is the role of community. Aristotle believed that ethics was social. You can't be an ethical person alone. You become virtuous in your community by helping people through friendships, participating in politics. The good life isn't being a monk in a cave, it's living well and encouraging other people around you to live well. Aristotle did animals and shit too, kinda. This brings us to natural science and biology, but honestly, this section's going to be largely skipped over because I'll probably get back to it at another episode or something. Maybe. I don't know. But he basically set the structure for Darwinism, modern biology, taxonomy. He helped really kick off classification of animals and the very, very early foundations of empirical observation. Just, look at thing, write down. Simple, but important. So finally, let's move on to the stuff that makes me excited to be alive. Let's talk about art. Aristotle liked dissecting animals to understand how they worked, and you better believe he did the same thing with art. He tried to break it down to understand why some stories just hit the way they do, why some make us cry, why others make us feel pleasant. He calls this poetics, and it's really the first serious take on what art is and does. At the center of this is imitation. Art for Aristotle is humans doing what we do best, reflecting life back onto itself, capturing truth through imagination. Good art doesn't have to be realistic, but it does have to be recognizable. Aristotle's favorite form of art was the tragedy. He saw it as the highest form of good art. He even gives us a formula for this because it's Aristotle. Why wouldn't he? Any good tragedy, as Aristotle believes, has a couple key beats that it has to hit: a noble character with a tragic flaw, a twist, a realization, and obviously the fall, the collapse of the character. It's structured and precise, and it's everywhere now, from Hamlet to Breaking Bad, which I've never seen. And that structure Aristotle put into place still shapes how we tell stories today. Plays, films, television, novels, character arcs, the act system, the payoff for the climax of any good story. It all goes back to Aristotle tracing how a good story should be written. This dude who did ethics and metaphysics and biology also gave us the bones of modern storytelling, the blueprint for feeling things on purpose. Aristotle is what happens when one guy wants to do literally everything. He was a philosopher, scientist, biologist, ethicist, political theorist, drama nerd, man of many, many disciplines. And even now, when you're watching your favorite show or movie, organizing your thoughts, debating your own morality, or asking, why does this thing exist? You're doing a Aristotle move, whether you know it or not. And all that said, we've moved on from a lot of his specifics. Not everything he did was a slam dunk. He thought women were incomplete men and had less teeth. Thought heavier objects fell faster, even in a vacuum. Didn't understand air resistance. I mean, he thought spontaneous generation was a thing. So not a perfect dude by any means. But the frameworks he laid out for most of his concepts are still solid and used today and really shaped most of modern Western thought for the rest of history. Still argued about in lecture halls and internet forums. That's why he has such an enduring legacy. He didn't have the final word, but he asked questions that were sturdy enough to survive the centuries. And that about does it for Aristotle. We did it. We reached the end of the episode. We definitely missed a few things, but this isn't designed to be a college lecture. I hope I didn't mispronounce too many words. I did my best. I don't yet know exactly what I'm going to do next. I do think I'll commit to this sort of timeline of Western philosophy thing for now. Maybe Diogenes, something fun. I don't know. But again, thank you for watching. If you or someone you know the fine people at Tommy Bahama, please tell them to send me a bathrobe. And until next time, stay curious and stay cozy.